Hi, third graders. Yesterday with Miss A, you started our new Module 5 on fractions. And you learned that a fraction is a part of a whole. So if we divide or partition one whole, like here, one whole pizza, one whole cake, into equal parts, the parts have to be equal, each of those parts is a fraction of the whole. Okay, so here we have a whole circle, a whole pizza. Here we have a square. This is whole. Okay, if we cut it into equal parts, if they're not equal, we're not talking about fractions. Two equal parts, so the part on the left is exactly the same as the one on the right. We have two halves. Okay, we're cutting it in half. Half is a fraction of the whole. So you cut the whole in two equal parts. Each part is 1/2. Same thing for the square here. You cut the square in two equal parts. Those are halves. They're called halves. Each part is 1/2. And we can also cut our whole pizza, our whole circle, into 4 equal parts. So you cut it in 2 and then in each half in 2 again. And that's in 4 equal parts. Each of those parts is 1/4. So you're cutting the whole in 4 parts. Each of those is 1/4. And you can do it with a square in the same way. You cut the square into 4 parts. And you can cut it like this, like with a cross. You cut it halfway like this and then across like that. Or you can divide one side into 4 equal segments and then you cut like 4 strips. And they're always fourths. It's exactly the same. Okay, I would like you today to experiment with fractions and find things that you have at home. Now, I found some Lego pieces, okay? So I found 12 Lego pieces, like these. And I chose 12 because you can divide 12 easily. You can divide it by 2, so you can make halves. You can divide it by 3. You can divide it by 4. So 12 is a nice number, okay? So I have 12 pieces, and as you can see, I made 2 halves, okay? So this is like a Lego tower with 12 pieces of Lego. And there are 6 red ones and 6 blue ones. So I divided it in half. I have 2 parts and each part is 1/2. So my red part, I can go ahead and write 1, I wonder if you can see it, 1/2. Okay, this is 1/2 of the tower. And the blue part is also, there we go, 1/2 of my tower with 12 bricks, my Lego tower. I made another tower. Okay, let me get it. Made another tower with 12 pieces. So you see, they're exactly the same height. They're 12 pieces, but what did I do here? I divided it into 4 equal parts. See, I have 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, and 1, 2, 3. And I have 4 equal parts. Each part is made up of 3 Lego pieces, okay? So I have this part, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 equal parts. These are called fourths. I divided my 12 Lego 12-piece tower, Lego tower, into 4 equal parts, and each part is 1/4. Okay, so I can write 1/4. We can also call them quarters, 1/4 or 1/4. Okay, so I divided my Lego tower into 4 equal parts. Each part is called 1/4. Okay, I'm not going to go on, but you can make, if you have Lego at home, you make lots of 12-piece towers like I said, I'm choosing 12 because you can divide it easily, and you can make a tower where you divide it in half, a tower where you divide it in 3 equal parts. Those are called thirds. And then 4 equal parts, fourths. And then let's skip 5. That's a bit tricky. And then 6. So you divide it into 6 equal parts, and those are called sixths. Ugh. So you started to see yesterday that a fraction can be written with 2 numbers, okay? So you have a number on the top, then you have a fraction line and a number on the bottom. The number on the bottom, which is called denominator, shows how many equal parts the whole is divided into. So you see our pizza here, it's divided into 4 equal parts. So the denominator will be 4, and we will say that we have fourths. The number on the top, which is called the numerator, says how many of these parts we are taking, we're considering, we're talking about, okay? We're shading in. So in this case, we're considering 3/4, 3 of those 4 equal parts that we cut the pizza into, okay? So let's look over here. I have a whole, and I divided my whole into 2 parts. I have a whole circle, and I divide it into 2 equal parts. So I will have halves, okay? This is 1/2, this is the other. Let's shade in 1, and I have 1/2. So you see 2 because I cut it into 2 equal parts. That's the denominator. I shaded in 1 of those 2 parts, and that's 1/2. Okay, what if I cut my circle into 3 parts, 3 equal parts? That means that my fractional unit is thirds. Okay, that means that I cut my circle, my whole, into thirds, 3 equal parts. I'm considering, I'm taking, I'm talking about, I'm shading in 1 of those 3 parts. That's 1/3. Okay, I can shade in 2, and that's 2/3. See, I always have 3 on the bottom because I cut it into 3 equal parts. And depending on how many parts I take, I consider, I shade in, I can have 1/3, 2/3, or even 3/3. 3/3 is 1 whole, okay? When numerator and denominator are the same, 3/3 or 4/4, I have a whole. So let's go ahead and see fourths, okay? I cut my whole. Let's go and look at a square. I cut my whole. I have a whole square. I cut it. I divided it. I partitioned it into 4 equal parts. 1, 2, 3, 4. My fractional unit is fourths. So denominator is 4. I shaded in 1 of those parts, and that's 1/4. Okay, so this is 1/4. Numerator shows the part that I shaded in. Look. Oops, why isn't it working? 2/4 and 3/4. See? Denominator is always fourths, and I shaded in 3. And I can go on. Fifths. I divide my whole into 5 equal parts. I have fifths, shade in 3, 3/5, 4, 4/5, or maybe just 1. Okay, yeah, I can even shade in like 2 like this. All right, let's go ahead, and I see 6 sixths. Okay, these are 3 that are shaded in. I divided my whole into 6 equal parts. That's 6. I shaded in 3, that's 3/6. Do you want to see the pizza? There we go, 3/6 of a pizza, and that's 4/6. Okay, and I can go on. These are 7ths and 8ths. That's 4/8 of a pizza, 4/8 of a circle, 4/8 of a square, 3/8, 2/8, 1/8. Or let's go to all 8 of them, and that's 8/8, which is 1 whole. Okay. So for today, you can choose. You can do the classwork slides, or you can be creative and find ways to create and to show fractions like I showed you before with the Lego pieces. You can use Lego, go around, look around the house, see what you can use to create fractions. and show a whole and what fraction of the whole you are making. If you haven't done the fraction strips yesterday, I would highly recommend that you try that. I'm adding a time lapse. I made fraction strips and I'm adding a time lapse at the end of this video to show you how. You're you're cutting out some strips of paper. I cut them all, they're all 24 centimeters because that's a nice measurement that you can divide by 2, in half, by 3, by 4. You can do 12 inches, or if you don't have a ruler, that's okay. Just cut strips that are all the same length. See, they're all the same length. And there you go. That way you can compare them. And then you fold it in half and you make halves. You fold it in half and then in half again, and you will have fourths. And then 8/16, and the challenge is to make thirds, which is a bit tricky. All right, so enjoy playing with fractions. Bye.